What's up YouTube, Capital G here, checking out the January 1st, 2019 OCG ban list. I had already done this video a couple of times, but then I realized I was doing it on YG Organization's page, and it just looks better when you can actually see the cards. Gives you guys a little something to look at when you're listening to my stupid voice. But if you guys have not seen this list, just prepare your body, because oh my god, they did so much on this list, and I just have to say, there's been a murder, baby. I mean, this is actually insane how much they've done with this list. This is like one of those when you want to move to like a new apartment or a new house and you just throw away half your crap because you don't feel like putting it in boxes and taking it with you. This is basically that. Konami has 8 ban cards on this list. They got a bunch of limits. They got a bunch of semi-limits as well. This is kind of one of those, we're trying to see if we can get a new meta out of this list, or basically clean up a whole lot out of the game, because in my personal opinion, and I probably get some hate for this, I kind of feel like just recently, I'm talking about within the last week or so, I actually feel like the TCG has been significantly better. Like, we have a better format than the OCG because they just have too much bullshit in their game. There's too much ways of extra linking and stuff, and granted, we got a lot of bullshit in our game too, but nowhere near as much as the OCG. The only good thing they have that we don't is like Max C, but everything else in their game is like fucking Firewall and Nightmare Goblin and just way too much degenerate bullshit. I don't want to play with that shit, other than Summon Sorcerers, I guess, that we have. But anyways, let's go ahead and look at this list and see just how much they've cleaned up in their format. So let's go ahead and start with the bans. We got some plant boys. We got Glow Up Bulb and Spore, which excuse me, Glow Up Bulb and Dandelion. Oh my god, I can't even visualize cards. I can't even recognize cards by the artwork anymore without seeing the names. We got Glow Up Bulb and Dandelion. We have Nightmare Goblin. We have number 95 Dark Matter Dragon, which this was the most shocking thing on this list to me. I saw that and I was like, what the hell? This card got banned. We got Firewall Dragon. We have Steam the Cloak. We have MX Saber Invoker, and we have Divine Phoenix Blade, or Divine Sword Phoenix Blade. All right, let's break these down. 8 cards banned. That is a lot, especially for the OCG. You guys know at times they have banned nothing, at other times they have banned, or they have changed absolutely nothing on their ban list. So this is a lot, in my opinion, to get on a ban list. The Plant Boys, I mean, I think that Konami has realized now they cannot have this Power 4, the Plant Engine, together. Even if these cards are all limited, they're still just too broken. They have their own official Link Monster and Aromatherapy Jasmine. When I say the Plant Engine, I mean Lone Fire Blossom, Dandelion, Glow Up Bulb, and Spore. You cannot have those 4 cards together in any capacity. Not anymore. You couldn't have them together during 5Ds because they created the Plant Synchro deck, which go ask Billy Break, you know, a couple winning some YCSs with the deck definitely shows you how powerful it was. But in, you know, in the Vrains era, it's just as powerful. Dandelion producing tokens, Lone Fire Blossom to get all of them, Spore and Glow Up Bulb to basically be exploited with Crystal Needle Fiber. Those cards are very much like Steam the Cloak. These, I think, are because of Needle Fiber. Spore is also because of the Plant Engine, but you know, Needle Fiber just breaks cards like Steam the Cloak and Glow Up Bulb. They're these cards that you summon from the deck. They give you a link body right there, then you end up using them, and then they either summon themselves or they give you a token. I kind of felt like Mecha Phantom Beasto Lion might actually end up getting banned as well, because very much like Steam the Cloak, it's just a monster that you summon from Needle Fiber, and then it just gives you like 2 more monsters, and it's just very exploitable at that point. So when it comes to Nightmare Goblin and Firewall Dragon, to me, these aren't even, you know, we stole this from the TCG ban list as, you know, MX Saber Invoker. These are just, clean your fucking game. Like, fix your fucking game, Konami. Like, you have these cards in the game, and you guys can go on my channel and you can see like fucking ninjas extra linking. You can see Red Eyes extra linking. I'm pretty sure that if you gave, you know, fucking Fluffles Firewall Dragon and Nightmare Goblin, like Fluffles could probably extra link. Like, these are the cards that let literally any deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! Extra link. And it's like, how's that fun at all? Like, extra linking is one of the most unfun things about Yu-Gi-Oh! Very similar to like number 86, Rongo Bongo. So I feel like you got to get these cards out of the game. This card was never a good idea. This card, I mean, you know, it just should have been a hard once per turn, so it is what it is. Good to see Firewall Dragon and Nightmare Goblin both out of the game. When it comes to these 2 cards, They're both fairly old cards. I mean, I know this guy's from Zexal. I want to say Order of Chaos off the top of my head. But, you know, the problem with Invoker is that it was never related to X-Sabers at all. I mean, I don't even think I ever saw anyone summon it in X-Sabers. I always saw it in Madoche and Zodiac and, you know, obviously Goki. The fact that you could make it with one Teratop was obviously a problem as well. But, yeah, it just has nothing to do with X-Sabers, to be honest. And the card kept being exploited in the best deck of the format, Zodiac and Goki. It just, you know, it eventually had to go. When it comes to Divine Sword, this is not this card's first time to the rodeo. This card is from GX. I don't remember what set exactly, but I know the kid who played it in the anime, he used Benkai OTK, and you know, this is a card that you could use in Diamond Dude Turbo back in the day. Send it to the graveyard with Rigor Destruction. Send it to the graveyard with Magical Stone Excavation. Send it to the graveyard with Lightning Vortex. Just get it back and reuse it over and over again. Send it to the graveyard with Reasoning so that you didn't have to draw it. Basically, you're seeing the same thing now. It's just instead of those spell cards, people are using it for nightmare monsters and for Gumblar hand looping their opponent. So, you know, people are just using the card over and over and over again. It's a GX card. It never was going to have a hard once per turn. So they had to basically get it out the game. I kind of want this. Look, if you're not going to ban Isolde, then you need to just go ahead and ban this. Like that's your alternative to not banning Isolde. You don't want to ban Isolde, ban Phoenix Blade, and I think we'll be okay. This is the only one that I don't understand. And, if you told me that 2 Sea monsters were going to be banned, I would have probably guessed Invoker, but I would have guessed that Galaxy Tomahawk was going to be the other banned Sea monster. I mean, this is one where I literally need you guys to explain to me. I know that this card has a triple Foolish Burial effect, but honestly, I only see it being used in... Like, every time I see it being used, it's in fucking, you know, like, Table 500 Blue Eyes. Like, the only time I ever see it being good is when people drop, like, Archbrave Dragon and, like, a Romage or a Morphage Goliath in the graveyard. I'm like, all right, that's kind of a sick play. But I never knew that this card was ever a problem, so you guys just explained that to me. Now, when it comes to limits... We got 5 limits. We have Multi-Faker, Ultra Geist Multi-Faker, Crystron Needle Fiber, Chronograph Sorcerer, Chronograph Magician, Chronograph something or other, Sky Striker, Ace Kagari, and Mathematician. So I got a little beef with the homie Farfa on this one. I know he says he likes these kind of generic cards that are just good in a whole bunch of decks. The problem with that is, I don't know if he realizes this yet, these cards like Mathematician that are generic, it just makes them very easy to exploit, and these cards are not going to get worse. Like these Armageddon, these Mathematician type cards that just dump cards into the graveyard, they only are going to get better over time. You know, decks like Orcus are going to exist, archetypes where they want all their monsters into the graveyard because every fucking other Orcus monster has, you know, Monster Reborn built right into it. And it's just a problem. Like, normal summon this, drop Dandelion into the graveyard. Oops, I got 3 monsters. Free Link 3 on the field. You know, drop this. Even if you had Armageddon Knight without Malicious, it's like, all right, well, dump Destrudo into the grave, go for Needle Fiber. You know, summon Steam the Cloak, win the game. Like, these monsters that just drop monsters into the graveyard off of a normal summon, they're just going to get better and better and better. And there will always be old cards like Glow Up Bulb and Spore to send to the graveyard, and even if there aren't, it's not like Konami's gonna stop making level 4 or lower monsters. Like, Konami's not gonna stop making monsters that are good when sent to the graveyard. So I actually feel like Mathematician, very similar to Armageddon Knight, is working his way towards ban, but that's just me. Multi-Faker, I'm actually okay with this. I've talked about this in the past. Even as an Altergeist enthusiast, you have 2 ways of getting it back from the graveyard in Marian Manifestation. You have 2 ways of getting it from the deck in Milu Seek, plus Personal Spoofing, which is also on this list. So I don't really think that that's much of a problem. Just don't be an idiot and play Pot of Desires and Altergeist, and you'll be fine. You play Pot of Desires, you deserve to banish your 1 copy of Multi-Faker. Needle Fiber, I kind of feel like this card should be at 3 or 0, very similar to like Steam the Cloak and Mecha Phantom Beasto Lion and other cards like that. If you summon Needle Fiber and you don't win, chances are you're not going to win. Like, if your Needle Fiber gets asked or impermanence, you're going to lose anyway. So I don't really see what the point of, you know, letting somebody have like a 2nd or 3rd Needle Fiber in. You only need 1 to win. So I don't know, man. It feels like a card where 1 copy is more than enough to really pop off and do. You guys have seen those TG plays that I've shown on the channel, right? Where you end on like Quasar plus like Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon and like some other shit. So I feel like Needle Fiber should be a 3 or a 0 of. This card, if I'm not mistaken, they have Astrograph Sorcerer in the OCG for some weird reason. I think Astrograph's at 1. I feel like they should just ban Astrograph and keep this card in the game. I didn't even know Pendulums are still a problem. This I feel like Sky Striker Ace Kagari is too harsh of a hit. I mean, yes, they will still have the power of their turn 1 plays. They still have multiple copies of Sky Striker, Mobilize, Engage. They still got the 1 Hornet drones. But to me, if you take away the Kagari, like, their turn 2s become kind of just shitty now. I mean, I guess all the advantage that they recover from the Area Zero, no, the Area Zero is a field spell, from the freaking one that you want to Ghost Ogre, the one that's like Spellbook of Judgment that sets all the cards on the field. Multi-roll, yeah, the advantage that they get from multi-roll, I guess, basically has to last them the entire game, because without this in the game, their turn 2 plays, like, they're going to use this card turn 1, and if it gets hit with like Effect Veiler or something, where do you go from there? Like, how do you recover your only copy of Kagari? I mean, I feel like that's going to hurt them a lot. If you're still rocking with Sky Strikers in the new format in the OCG, you are a fucking boss, man, because you're better than me. I'd move on to a different deck. To the semi-limits, we have a card that I honestly don't even think should be off the ban list. that is Denlong. I got no problem with Damage Juggler coming back or being at 2, even though wait, is it maybe they put this at 1? I'm for some reason I'm feeling like this went from 0 to 2 in the OCG. I think it went from 0 to 1. We have this in the TCG. Damage Juggler is not causing any problems, honestly. It's a perfectly fine card. It was broken with Performages and Pals, but that's 2015. That's a long time ago. People don't need to worry about that. This card I still feel is actually broken. I still don't like the design of Denlong. I think that card is like crazy, but you know, maybe it's a thing where just nobody's playing it. Fairy Tale Snow, I believe, used to be at 1. I don't like Fairy Tale Snow at moving up on the ban list, because they do have that grass looks greener in the OCG. This card is not a hard once per turn. I feel like people were saying, oh, Snow's the problem and not grass. Well, if you think Snow's the problem, then why are you moving Snow up on the ban list? It just doesn't make any sense. Like, Snow needs to stay at 1. I'll talk about Candina in a second. I hate this hit. These two, I believe that Spellbook of Judgment or Spellbook of Knowledge was at 1. They've done some weird things with Spellbook of Knowledge and Alistair in the OCG where they've like hit them to 1 at one point. I think that was just kind of weird. Ceasefire, who even cares? Personal Spoofing, even though I'm an Altergeist fan and enthusiast, if this card went to 1 as well, I would still be okay with it, because you'd still have 4 ways of getting to your cards. Like, you'd have 3 Milu Seeks and a Personal Spoofing to get to your Multi-Fake or to get to whatever other monster you want. I'm perfectly fine with this card being hit. I honestly think it should probably go to 1, but no Moss, no more Altergeist hits after that. Candina, let's talk about this. Okay, so first off, Reincarnation is already at 1 in the OCG. It's like, Konami, are you really just trying to ultimately kill the deck? Like, I feel like the deck is perfectly fine the way it is. The reason, you know what, this is Blackwing Syndrome. The reason why they're still hitting Trick Stars is because people won't stop playing the deck. That's the only reason they're still hitting Trick Stars, because it just won a tournament over the weekend. It won like an 80-person tournament over the weekend, and it's Blackwings 2.0. People won't stop playing Trick Stars, so they're just going to keep on hitting them to make it to, you know, the point where you don't want to play them anymore. And because I'm just running short on time at this point, to the Unlimits, we got Dante, Necrozma Brionic, which I believe is still at 1 in the TCG. We have True King's Return, which I think is still at 1 in the TCG, which I don't really get this Unlimit. Like, Konami is sending mixed signals here. If you want True Dracos to be meta again, then stop, like, unlimiting these cards. Just give them fucking Diagram back. Like, I don't care how many cards they unlimit in this deck. If there is no Diagram, there is no deck. Like, your deck's just not going to be consistent at that point. So, I feel like keep this card at 1 or at 2 or whatever it was before, and just give them that Diagram and they'll be perfectly happy. Rigor Destruction, I love this card so much. It's one of my favorite all-time traps, but honestly, who cares? The Erratic just kind of made the card only usable in basically trap dot decks and chain burn and stuff like that. And Dante, Burning Abyss, no one's really playing it that much in the OCG, but I kind of feel like this was a massive list. I think they went after like basically all the meta decks. I mean, like no one survived, and I think their ban section cleaned a ton of stuff up. The only thing, again, I wonder about is Dark Matter Dragon. Like, why did this card get banned? And I would say that personally, Needle Fiber should have got banned. If it's good enough to get hit to 1, it's good enough to get banned, because you only need, like, Needle Fiber as a card, you only need 1 copy of it to break the game open. But anyways, whatever you guys think, leave it in the comment section below. What do you think is going to translate possibly from the OCG to the TCG? That will be the most interesting thing. And how do you think this is going to affect the OCG meta? Leave it in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already, and turn on that notification bell for daily videos.